Alright, I think we are live. I get my phone out. Yeah, I'll definitely get you a microphone. Alright, I think we are live. Alright, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Big Talks with Big T. If you can let us know that you hear us. Just let people get in here. So how was your day today?
Well, went to the zoo, so
I thought you already lived at the zoo.
uh, yeah, uh, pretty much. I mean, they could be almost as violent as tigers.
I got 3 nieces and I don't know how my sister does it.
Oh,
Hi, Charles Parrish. Welcome to the chat. Good to see you. I'll let you know, Cassie, if we get any questions for you or anything.
all right.
Hi, Darla. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat here.
Hey,
Can everybody hear Cassie? Because it's really quiet on my end and I don't know why.
and I can't figure out how to turn my volume up.
It might be your computer. I don't know. Is it like older?
Let's see, I think I got it about 1 or 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and it's a Mac, so
Yeah, I'll get you out that microphone. I should be getting some money this month. I can afford to send it out to you. All right, so we got 6 people on, so I guess we will go ahead and start unless people decide they can't hear us. But they say yes, they can hear you, so that's what matters.
that's what I'm seeing too.
All right, so this is my friend Cassie, goes by CassieNova.
Hey,
How long have we known each other?
geez, I think we started moderating together back in 2006.
2006? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
At Christian forums there.
Yep.
I can't believe how
Yeah.
long I've been on that forum.
Yeah. Well, you're the one that reminded me that we had that we were on staff together because I think we really started connecting at the like 5 years later in the young adults forum.
Okay, yeah. Or singles, rather.
Yeah, it was something like that. I don't remember. I'm hardly ever on there anymore. So.
Yeah. You were one of the people that would often come and go and get banned and then come back under a new name and...
Never
Oh,
been
wait. Oh, wait,
banned.
that was me. I'm sorry.
I just changed my name a lot.
Okay. I got banned frequently, which people keep telling me now, like, hey, why don't you rejoin staff? I'm like, they would never let me rejoin staff. I'm a troublemaker.
Yeah, I probably could rejoin, but I just don't have interest.
Yeah, it's gone downhill.
Yeah.
Oh, so Cassie, you had bypass surgery. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with that?
Yeah, well, it was something that I just never thought I would do for myself, actually. I mean, I one, didn't qualify, was not morbidly obese, and then yeah, after having my second, and I just weight gain was just astronomical. I think like 60 pounds with her, and it just didn't really go away. Finally, uh got to the point where, like, you had announced that you were going to be getting weight loss surgery. A friend had just announced that her surgery date, and I finally went, okay, so why am I against doing this for myself, and I qualify now? So I just kind of, reached out for some information from the bariatric surgeons in my area, and they had just said, look, you're still doing the work yourself. You're gonna be, in fact, working harder than you ever did. So, I mean, I was considering the sleeve, but looking into it, I'm like, okay, it's not that much harder, and it's more effective to do the bypass.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and do that. It took me about a year to qualify. A lot, well, I didn't really wasn't so diligent in starting my nutrition appointments or anything like that. But when once it finally went through, yeah, recovery was a little difficult. But I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they found a hiatal hernia as well, and I was recovering from basically two major surgeries in one.
Yeah, when I had my surgery, the doctor put notes there that he was searching for a hernia, and he looked everywhere and he couldn't find one, thankfully. So that probably would have made my recovery worse than it was, even though it was pretty bad. But
Yeah.
they didn't find a hernia. So did you have issues with being overweight before your child, or maybe
Not a
even
whole
before
lot.
your first pregnancy even?
Um, well, for my teen years, I was actually fairly thin. I was, according to the BMI, overweight at 150 at 5'3", 5'4". But I was wearing a size 4, so it was probably more muscle than anything else. And then uh, I think starting senior year of high school, I just kind of metabolism slows down, you eat differently. Um, Gained 30 pounds and just um never really lost it. And then after I had my first, there was it was more like 50 to 60 pounds overweight. I mean, I've lost like 20 to 30 pounds at a time, but never really kept it off before
Yeah.
that.
So, hi
And
April and hi Samantha. Samantha, we literally just started, so we were a little late getting things going here. So you're fine. So, not really. You didn't really deal with too much obesity problems growing up with emotional eating or anything like that.
um not so much as a kid. I mean, I would kind of sneak food from the pantry and such. I've always had a sweet tooth, and I don't know, when I didn't have to sneak food and could eat what I want, and there not being any restrictions, I went ahead and let loose.
Yeah, I think most kids kind of sneak a few treats here and there from the pantry.
Yeah.
I'm sure your girls do too from time to time.
Yeah, they're really, really not good at hiding it though. But I mean, they're 3 and 9. They just don't know how to be sneaky.
You got to teach them better. If you're gonna sneak food, this is how you do it. Mommy knows.
You're right.
So you told me before, and you said I should put a warning in here that we're going to talk about menstrual cycles and PCOS and all that stuff. So most of my followers are women, so I don't think they'll care. But tell us a little bit about PCOS, what it is, and how it's impacted your weight and your life, pretty much.
Yeah, so PCOS, as many of your female followers would know, is stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. Uh, that it Most studies say that it affects about 10% of women, but I think it's closer to 15, 20. I know several women who've also been diagnosed, and more I talk about it, more I'm seeing how common it is. And I know there's a few people I've met who I'm pretty sure they have it. They're just not diagnosed. I have a friend now who just found out she's pregnant, and she's kind of got some of the signs there. I just don't think she's only 22, so I just don't think she's been there yet. What happens is it's multiple cysts that grow on the ovaries, and that causes irregular menstrual cycles, excessive testosterone growth, so excessive facial hair for a lot of women. And then it also causes an insulin resistance similar to diabetes, which makes it difficult to lose weight.
Hmm.
For me personally, I didn't know I had it. I just knew I had irregular periods for pretty much my entire teen years, and it wasn't until after I had my first that I found out I had it.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it. I had no idea what it was until I started doing these videos, and I saw a woman who had a lot of hair on her face, and I'm like, why don't you just cut it? Like, I didn't understand that, but um, then I learned what PCOS is and how it relates to testosterone and hormones, and it could cause facial hair growth and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of people who talk about PCOS and say that it prevents them from losing weight. Would you say that it's something that is makes it that much harder to lose weight, or
Oh yeah.
is it
Like I
something
said,
that can be overcome with a diet?
yeah, it's very, like I said, there's an insulin resistance issue, very
Yeah.
similar to diabetes. In fact, there's a very common link between PCOS and type 2 diabetes. And between the PCOS, and I do have a family history of type 2 diabetes, um, I was very high risk, excuse me,
No problem.
of gestational diabetes with my last pregnancy, and probably with my oldest as well. We just again didn't know I had PCOS at the time.
So we got a comment here from Samantha. I'm really interested to hear the PCOS experience. My sister has it and is suffering infertility. Have you had troubles? I know you have two beautiful girls, but did you have problems getting pregnant at any time from it, or?
Yes, actually. Well, one, we just didn't think I could get pregnant because, well, how are you supposed to know if you ovulate when sometimes you go 3 to 5 months without a period? I mean, I've actually gone as long as 8 months without it.
Oh wow.
Uh, Side note, put a pin in that in case someone wants to. This also puts women with PCOS at a much higher risk of ovarian cancer.
Mm.
But back to the fertility thing. With my oldest, miscarriage rates are also 3 times as high with PCOS women. My first pregnancy, I think, honestly was triggered by a death in the family. I
Mm.
was hyperovulating. I was having a period every 2 weeks. Got pregnant, kind of knew I was going to lose it because my pregnancy, my HCG hormone levels were all over the map. I could take 2 pregnancy tests an hour apart. One will be negative, one will be positive. That one, yes, did in fact miscarry. A month later, I found out I was pregnant again, miscarried that one, then got pregnant with my oldest. And then when we found out I had PCOS, a lot of common things doctors like to do, because they don't really, they tend to go very one size fits all, is put these women with PCOS on birth control because it has different effects for men. Birth control tends to help regulate cycles. And for me, I go, no, I don't think so. My hormones are out of balance. This causes severe hormone imbalance, and the pill is a hormonal birth control. Why would I want to put more artificial hormones in my body? That doesn't make sense, and I'm just not comfortable with that. It's like, yeah, like fighting fire with gasoline in my head. I just wasn't going to. So after a long argument with this OBGYN that I was seeing, she finally said, okay, fine. There's some artificial progesterone. If you go more than, you have to have at least 4 periods a year. If you go more than 3 months without one, you need to take this for 10 days and start it up on your own.
Oh wow.
So I went and found another doctor who I'm still seeing today, and she looked at me and said, do you want another baby? And at the time I was a single mom. I said, well, I want the option. And I want to, I'd like to ideally put in the work now so that if I ever am in a position where I want to have a kid, it won't be difficult for me. So she said, all right, well, let's try something else. Let's go ahead and start focusing on your fertility instead. What a lot of helps with a lot of women, it also will help with your insulin resistance, kind of help with that, and possibly, as long as you're eating well, help you lose weight, go ahead and put you on diabetes meds instead. And sure enough, it did help me lose a little bit of the weight, not all of it, nowhere near as much as I needed it to lose. But she went ahead and put me on metformin, and that really helped. And sure enough, after a few years on that, met my now husband, and 6 months in, found out that I was pregnant with my now second, and then my fifth pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. But
That's rough.
it it did play a huge part in conception, that I didn't conceive without help. My oldest was triggered again by a death in the family, and then my current youngest was through diabetes.
That's rough. So hi, Steph. Good to see you. Hi, Scout. Glad you're here. Scout's my moderator. One of my goodies, my good friends there. Darla's got a question. Do y'all think the root cause of obesity is nature, nurture, illness, trauma, or a combination of everything? What do you think?
I think it's more nurture than anything else. Environmental, like what you're constantly, what you're taught nutrition is, I would definitely say nature plays a part, but in most cases.
Yeah. I mean, it's, if you're born and you get something like PCOS, you don't have control over that, right? And that's going to make it harder to lose weight, and hormonally, you said it's connected to diabetes and stuff like that. So I could see where, there would be some people, and I'm very glad that you shared that with me, because I really didn't know. I haven't talked to anybody who had it. You're the first person, so now I could have a bit more sympathy for people dealing with hormonal issues like that, that it's not, and that's what I try to get out. It's not always a self-control issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you already have some kind of issue like that, it's going to be much harder to try to get it off. It's not impossible, definitely, but it's great to hear different people's perspectives. So we're really trying to nail it down, and I don't always get it right when I do these videos and I share things about certain things, because I don't experience it. So let's see here. Thank you, Steph, for hitting that like button. But yeah, to answer the question myself, I think it's a lot of nurture too. I think most of the people who get to be several hundred pounds overweight, and we've talked about this, have experienced some sort of trauma, and they use food just like they use any other thing to help them cope with that trauma. Do you have, you don't have to answer if this is a personal question, but do you have any type of addiction in your family, whether it's food or alcohol or drugs or?
I would say not like in my family directly. I mean, there's definitely some issues with binge eating or such. I'm the only one who I know has PCOS, but yeah, as far as like actual diagnosed issues, that I couldn't say for sure.
Yeah. In my family, alcoholism is very rampant, and drug use and stuff like that. So I often wonder if some of that sort of passed down to me and sort of gave me some type of addictive personality, right? So growing up, going through the trauma that I went through, the mental, physical, and sexual abuse as a kid, had a lot to play with it. I mean, had a lot to do with it, not play with it, but yeah, I always try to nail down, like, what exactly caused this? Was it the trauma? Was it that there was an addictive personality passed down to me, which I don't have anymore? I was able to overcome that with counseling, going through the bariatric program. So that's a very good question. And illness, yeah, I think illness can play a part too. Just people who deal with certain things, and it could lead you to be fatigued and not want to get out of bed and not want to do anything. Depression, anxiety, stuff like that can not not only do you run to food to help you cope with certain things, but you're very sedentary. You're afraid to go outside and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah, I definitely binge ate the most when I was stressed, and then it just uh, having PCOS, I had to work harder to lose it,
yeah.
and sometimes it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I think most people have a tendency to binge when they have stress, and it's a habit that's very difficult to overcome. So, but some people, when they deal with trauma, they just don't stop stress eating because it's constantly with them
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So, let's see questions. Steph, the sedentary lifestyle we live is a contributing factor. That's true, and additives in food. Do you eat a pretty clean diet right now?
For the most part, yes. I do eat mostly small amounts of things, but generally I mean, with the slow recovery of bariatric surgery, I found like one of the first things with solid foods that I could keep down were just fruits and vegetables. So I'm definitely more of a salad eater. I mean, I was whenever I was trying to eat healthy before, but now it's just one of the few things I can eat. Typically, just to make it easier, I don't want my kids just constantly eating chicken nuggets. And since
Yeah.
I'm married to someone who was a 40-year-old bachelor at the time we got married, I had to make things easier for him. So we actually subscribed to HelloFresh, and then we just do the for two people. Even though there's four of us in the house, because we've got a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old, he doesn't always have the biggest appetite for since he's chronically he's got a chronic illness, and that affects his appetite. And then me, I can't eat much anyway, so we take the meal for two and stretch it into four.
Yeah.
We all eat half portions.
So, how much weight have you lost in total since your bypass?
Since my bypass, I think I was at 104 pounds at one point. When I found out I was pregnant, it was 96 pounds. Lost a little bit more, which is fairly common in early pregnancy. And then now I'm back up to where I was when I found out I was pregnant. And I've pretty much maintained, although from what I've talked to with a lot of women who have had who've gotten pregnant after bariatric surgery, a lot of them don't gain weight until the end, when it's just the baby gaining weight.
Yeah. I was going to touch on that here in a second, so I just wanted to ask, are you close to the point now where you want to maintain? Like, are you happy with where you're at, or you still got...
Yeah, I was very close to my goal. I wanted to get down to my high school weight of 150, and I was 162 when I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would not be surprised if I continued to just maintain and not gain that much weight during this pregnancy. I would not be surprised if I end up below that by after I give birth, because that's for a lot of women in my little Facebook group for post bariatric surgery pregnancy women. A lot of them, their restrictions loosen up a lot because of the extra pitocin. It just kind of loosens up the muscles, and then the restrictions come back after they give birth, and then they lose the weight in like 1 or 2 months at most. So I would not be surprised if I end up below 150 after having a baby.
Okay. Are there any foods that you still cannot eat that impact you negatively?
Oh, even while being pregnant and post surgery? Yeah, I still can't eat French fries.
Oh, really?
At all. Yes, I don't know. I think it's just the dryness of the potatoes themselves. Because if I cook them in, if I just mash them with the mashed potato water and butter and sour cream, it's fine. But if they've got a dry starchiness to the texture, it's like bread. It just will not. Another one is bread. I still can't do, but I'm a lot better with bread if it's toasted
Hmm.
than I was before. And it's hard for me because bagels to me are the most sacred of breakfast foods, and even a toasted bagel I just cannot do.
Yeah, I've been finding out that like any type of dry food is really difficult for me to digest, and it's difficult because I'm trying to do high protein, and it doesn't settle well. Fish, chicken, turkey, any of that, just eating a very little bit of it, I get very nauseous, and so I'm having a difficult time trying to keep my protein up because they said that you need, as a guy, 90 grams of protein every day. And so I was
I
doing the Ensure protein shakes, but those got too expensive for me, so I don't do those anymore. So I'm
Yeah, I it took me a long time to be able to do meat again. What finally got it to work for me was my beef short ribs were the one thing, and I think it was the fat. With fish, I can handle. I just cook it in lots of butter. I don't shy away from fat at all, but I also I still have my gallbladder, so that helps.
yeah.
I know that makes a huge difference. You're not the only person I know who had to remove their gallbladder and just can't do anything in the keto range anymore. So,
Yeah, it's been tough because they want you to do something like that, more protein than fat, but um, any kind of meat product is really hard on my stomach, so I'm having a hard time doing that. And any time that I eat any kind of carbs, like my weight loss just stops completely,
mhm.
and it's rough at times. But I know that the scale is not always the answer because people, every time I go to church or I see my sister every couple weeks or something, they all
Mhm.
just gawk at how much smaller I look. And I'm like, really? It's only been a couple weeks and I look like I've lost 50 pounds or something? So,
Yeah. Well, the protein shakes, they do get expensive, and I don't really have them very often anymore, but I keep them on hand just in case, or sometimes I need that extra boost. And what I find the most affordable for me, and definitely the best flavor wise and gentlest, and a lot of people really enjoy the Fairlife protein
mm,
shakes that come pre-bottled, and I usually get salted caramel's my favorite. I can get an 18 pack at Costco for $28.
okay. All right, so it's saying we have like 9 minutes left. Um,
Oh, so there was an official time limit on here. Okay.
Yeah, just that everybody knows, when I did my interview with Scout, we did Zoom and it gave me like 40 minutes, and I found another software to use, but then when I got Cassie on, I could not hear her at all. So we're back to Zoom. Just this time, I'm still working out how to use Streamlabs or another software that doesn't give me a time limit. But if I paid for a subscription, then they'd let me use it unlimited. But so for the little bit of time we have left, you're pregnant right now with number three.
Mhm.
What has that experience been like compared to the first two pregnancies? Now that you've had bypass, how different is it?
Honestly, the stuff that tends to get worse with each pregnancy, plantar fasciitis, is the center of gravity adjusts. You get those weird pains in your feet. I haven't had any of that. Sciatic pain has been extremely minimal. And honestly, I was in so much physical pain with my second, especially close to delivery, when I was over 250 pounds, just not there. And weight gain's been much slower. Usually I gain 10 pounds in the first trimester, and they only want to see you gain like 2 to 4. Then that's usually when the morning sickness is worse and such. And again, I actually lost weight. And then, and there was just so much physical pain with the last one, particularly, so, like, things that I didn't know was a thing, like something called lightning crotch. Haven't had any of that in something that
That sounds
just maybe,
painful.
yeah, oh, it is. And it's something that would be a little TMI for a lot of people, just letting you know.
Just
Uh,
Google it. No.
no. There's another symptom I had with the last one was one of those common things that most women don't talk about with pregnancy, constipation. That did get a little bit worse because it's common with this.
Surgery.
Yeah, it's common with the surgery. It's common with pregnancy. You put the two together, it can be pretty bad.
Yeah.
But with my last pregnancy, I had issues because she just kind of sat so low. I had issues with the opposite, more lack of bowel control. That not there at all, which is nice. I am high risk for other things, so like intrauterine growth restriction, where there's just baby just doesn't develop at the rate it should, stuff like that. That is something that my doctors are concerned about. I am far enough post bariatric surgery that they're not worried about complications quite as much. They're just checking my vitamin levels more frequently to make sure that I'm getting the adequate nutrition. And then they're referring me to a special clinic for my big 20-week anatomy scan, just because they're more trained to see things like intrauterine growth restrictions, stuff like that. That if there's any complications, this special clinic can see. I'm only going there for the ultrasound unless there's an actual problem, which sounds awesome because I want my actual doctor to deliver my baby this time, which seems like my doctor's always out of town when I give birth. So,
did your doctor say not to get pregnant for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, it's actually usually recommended that after bariatric surgery, you need to wait a minimum of 18 months, and I got pregnant in 8.
Well, they say once you lose all that weight after surgery, it increases your fertility. So.
Oh, I could tell it was already increasing because with those irregular cycles were slowly getting more and more regular. Actually, no, they were getting more regular almost immediately after surgery. So it corrected a lot of things. Hormonal activity in general was much higher. Like, I never had PMS before, ever in my life, and now I would get it every single month, and it was awful. Just being temperamental, feeling bloated, just the general crankiness and the skin breakouts, lower back pain, all that stuff that most women have up until their menstrual cycles, I never had. And then so it wasn't just losing weight. And there's some women that get pregnant during the initial weight loss period, and that's where they're likely to have a lower birth rate, have lower birth weight, tend to preterm delivery, stuff like that. And that's when it's super dangerous because they're also dealing with those dietary restrictions, the recovery. And a lot of women, they just are told, look, you need to be on at least 2 forms of birth control.
Yeah.
For me, at least the majority of my weight had already been lost by the time I got pregnant. So even though it was way sooner, I was in a much better position.
Yeah, but your doctors are saying there's no complication right now. Everything's looking good.
So far, we'll find out at the big 20-week scan on Monday.
Okay. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you, Cassie. I appreciate you jumping on finally. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah.
Cassie and I are also working on doing a podcast. Probably we'll create a separate channel for that, and we'll have more regular conversations about different things like this. And so look forward to that soon.
Yeah. We've got well, I'm not working as much these days, and I have a little bit more time to actually start planning that.
Yeah. We've been talking about it for like a year now, I think, but we just haven't.
Yeah,
But, anyways, I appreciate you, Cassie.
yeah, this was fun. Hopefully, we'd be able to do this again.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to get more people on just to talk about their experiences and stuff like that. And next week I have my friend Kayla Shea that's coming on. So this is going to be Big Talks with Big T every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll definitely get you back on, Cassie. And I definitely want to get my friend Scout on more often, kind of be like a co-host. So, we might get 3 or 4 people on talking about stuff. So.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I typically have a one at my church on Wednesday nights, so I'm really disappointed I can't tune in next week, but
Yeah.
we'll be done in early to mid-May, so wouldn't be too much longer before I can start listening in on more of those.
All right, sounds good.
All
All
right.
right. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Well,
Yeah.
it's not much longer for you.
Yeah. All right, and to everybody watching, thank you very much. I appreciate you all. I love you, and God bless you.